Good morning to all of you students. Welcome to the physics class, and today we will discuss a most important chapter. And the name of that chapter is Gauss theorem. In this chapter we will discuss especially what is Gauss theorem and what are the applications of Gauss theorem. So student, first of all, we have to discuss some basic information about this chapter. The first topic is area vector. What is area vector? As we know that vector quantities have two things. First, magnitude, and second is direction. So in the same way, area vector is also defined as the product of magnitude of area and the unit direction of area. Now the next topic is solid angle. As you shown in the figure, there is a solid sphere, and here take a point O on the center of a sphere and take a small part on the sphere AB, subtend a small angle by the small part which is taken on the surface, then the angle made is known as solid angle, and it is denoted by generally d omega, and for the whole surface it will be omega, and the value of omega is 4 pi. So you can see that omega is equal to a upon r square, and a is 4 pi r square because it is the area of a sphere upon r square. That means we get 4 pi steradian. Then we can say that omega is equal to 4 pi. Now the next topic is electric flux. See in the diagram there is a closed surface and there are some lines which shows the electric field, and the total number of electric field lines passing through from the closed surface which is placed in the electric field is called electric flux. It is denoted by phi e, and we can also define this definition mathematically by the given formula phi e is equal to integral E into dA. That means it is also defined as a product of electric field and area vector. Now the unit of electric flux will be Newton meter square per coulomb, or you can also write its unit is volt into meter. So there are two units you can use for the electric flux. First is Newton meter square per coulomb and second is volt meter. Now the dimension of electric flux is ml3 t minus 3 a minus 1. Now the most important topic is Gauss theorem, and here we will discuss the proving of Gauss theorem and the statement of Gauss theorem. So take an uneven surface and take point O as a center and place a charge small q. Take a small surface on the whole surface which is denoted by dA, and take a point P where we have to find the electric field. So due to a small surface, a small solid angle take place at point O is t omega, and the direction of electric field and the area vector at point P is different. So electric field due to charge q at point P will be d phi E is equal to E into dA, and we know that when dot product open, then we get E dA cos theta. Then d phi E is the small electric flux at point P is equal to E dA cos theta, and we know that electric field at any point E is equal to 1 upon 4 pi epsilon naught q upon r square. So on putting the value we get d phi is equal to q upon 4 pi epsilon naught dA cos theta upon r square, and we know that dA cos theta upon r square will be equal to d omega. So d phi is equal to q upon 4 pi epsilon naught d omega. Now for the whole surface we have to integrate, and we get d phi is equal to q upon 4 pi epsilon naught integral d omega, and the value of d omega is 4 pi. So finally we get phi is equal to q upon epsilon naught. This is the required formula for the Gauss theorem. Now the statement is Gauss theorem. On the basis of the above formula you can define as the total charge enclosed by the given surface is 1 upon epsilon naught times of the charge. It means that if we take a closed surface in the electric field, then the total electric flux passing through the closed surface will be equal to the 1 upon epsilon naught times of the total charge enclosed. Now the next topic is what is Gaussian surface and what are the properties. The Gaussian surface are the imaginary surface which are drawn for getting the electric field at any point. For example, if we take a small surface and we have to find the electric field at any point, then we generally draw a imaginary surface around the original surface, and that surface is known as Gaussian surface. Properties. First property is it should be closed surface so that a clear distinction can be made between the surface on the surface and outside the surface. Second is this surface must have through the point where electric field to be calculated. The surface must have a shape according to the symmetry of the source. It means that we use different types of Gaussian surface according to the whole surface. Now the application of Gauss theorem. First application is the electric field due to a point charge, and it is also known as detection of Coulomb's law. So we can also find the Coulomb's law with the help of Gauss theorem. So take a sphere, point O at the center, and take point P at the surface of a sphere. Now here the direction of electric field and area vector will be same. So here the electric flux phi E is equal to integral E into dA. That means E dA cos theta, and on integrating we get EA. So phi E is equal to E into A. A means area of Gaussian surface, and here the Gaussian surface is in the form of a sphere. So we can use 4 pi small r square, and we know that phi is equal to q upon epsilon naught. So the resulting value will be E is equal to 1 upon 4 pi epsilon naught q upon r square. So finally we get F is equal to 1 upon 4 pi epsilon naught q naught upon r square. The second application is electric field due to an infinite line of charge. Here we have to take an infinite lengthy wire, and when we provide a charge plus q, then it is distributed uniformly along the length of a wire. Now take a Gaussian surface in the form of a cylinder and take 2 points on the Gaussian surface. First is P, which is placed on the curved surface, and take another point which is placed on the upper surface of a cylinder. But the upper surface, the direction of electric field and the area vector both are perpendicular. That means the electric flux will be 0. So the total electric flux will be calculated at only point P. So at point P, the electric flux will be phi E is equal to integral E into dA, and E into dA means E into A, where A is the area of Gaussian surface, and Gaussian surface is in the form of a cylinder. So finally we get phi E is equal to E 2 pi RL. So phi is equal to 2 pi RL into E, and we know that when the distribution of charge takes place on the length, then we can put Q is equal to lambda L, where lambda is the surface linear charge density. So on putting the value we get E is equal to lambda upon 2 pi epsilon naught small r and r cap. This is the vector form, and E is equal to lambda upon 2 pi epsilon naught small r. It is a mathematical form. Now the next application is electric field due to an infinite plane sheet of charge. Here we have to take a plane sheet which is infinitely length. That means its length and breadth are very big. Now take a point P where we have to find the electric flux. So take a Gaussian surface in the form of a cylinder, and distance small r is from the center of a sheet. So here we take 2 points P and P dash where we have to find the electric flux. So the total electric flux passing through outside from the surface will be phi E is equal to integral E dA plus phi A is E into dA. So total electric flux will be phi E is equal to integral E dA plus phi A E dA. So total will be phi E is equal to 2 times of EA. Now we know that Q is equal to sigma A, because here the distribution of charges take place on the surface, and sigma is surface charge density. So on putting the values we get finally E is equal to sigma upon 2 epsilon naught, and it is the most important formula for the numerical values and for the purpose of examination. Now the next important topic is electric field due to a uniformly charged thin spherical cell. Here we have to take a spherical cell, and there will be 3 conditions at which we have to find the electric field. So we can take a point P on the surface. Second, we can take point P on outside from the surface, and the third is inside the surface. So when we take point P on the surface, then the electric field will be E is equal to 1 upon 4 pi epsilon naught Q upon capital R square. And in the same way, when we take a point P outside from the surface, then small r, capital R is replaced by the small r, because small r is the radius of outside surface and capital R is the radius of main surface. So if we take a point P inside the spherical cell, then the electric field at point P when it is take place inside the surface will be 0, because in the case of a spherical cell, inside portion there is no charge, and without charge there will be no electric flux passing through the outside from the surface. So student, these are the important topics, and they are generally and frequently asked in the examination. So try and study as much as possible. Thank you very much.